Imagine if you could check the health of the US economy as easily as a doctor checks a pulse. The stock market has its own vital sign, the S&P 500. This single number is watched daily by investors worldwide, reflecting the collective strength and mood of the American economy. The S&P 500 isn't just a list of companies, it's a real-time report card for US business. It tracks 500 of the largest, most influential public companies, offering a snapshot of the market's performance. Because the US economy is so interconnected globally, the S&P 500's movements ripple across the world. It's the gold standard for measuring financial performance, the first thing professionals check each morning. Understanding the S&P 500 means understanding the engine room of modern capitalism. It's the language of the global economy, empowering you to decode headlines and make smarter investment decisions. So what makes this index so special and trusted? Now, let's break it down. The S&P 500 isn't just a random list, it's carefully curated by a committee at S&P Dow Jones Indices. Companies are chosen for their size, profitability, liquidity and public float, ensuring only the most significant players are included. The index is market cap weighted. Bigger companies like Apple and Microsoft have more influence on its value. This method mirrors the real economy, where giants move the market. The S&P 500 spans 11 sectors, from tech and healthcare to energy and consumer goods, giving a balanced view of the US economy. If one sector struggles, another might thrive, keeping the index stable and credible. The list isn't static. Companies are added or removed as the economy evolves. This active management keeps the S&P 500 relevant and accurate. Its blend of size, diversity and adaptability makes it the definitive market benchmark. But who are the companies inside this exclusive club? Let's take a look. The S&P 500 is a showcase of America's corporate giants. In tech, you'll find Apple, Microsoft and Amazon, innovators shaping how we live and work. The financial sector features titans like JP Morgan Chase, Berkshire Hathaway, Visa and MasterCard, driving global commerce. Healthcare leaders like Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer and Eli Lilly push medical innovation forward. Consumer staples include Coca-Cola and Procter & Gamble, while energy is represented by ExxonMobil and Chevron. The index covers everything from cars, Ford, GM, to entertainment, Disney. These companies' successes and struggles reflect the broader economy. The S&P 500 is more than a list, it's a cross-section of American life. But how do investors actually use this powerful tool? Let's find out. The S&P 500 is the ultimate benchmark for US stocks. Investors, from professionals to individuals, use it to measure their performance, like a power score in golf. Fund managers are judged by whether they beat the S&P 500. If not, clients may question their value. Individual investors compare their portfolios to the index to see if their strategies are working. If you outperform the S&P 500, you're beating the market. If not, you might reconsider your approach. This benchmarking has led to the rise of index funds and ETFs, which aim to match the S&P 500's performance. These funds offer a simple, low-cost way to invest in the entire market. For many, it's easier to join the market than try to beat it. The S&P 500 is both a target and a strategy. But what does benchmarking look like in real life? Let's see. Meet Sarah, an individual investor. She picks her own stocks and earns a 9% return in a year. But the S&P 500 returned 14%. Despite her gains, she underperformed the market. This insight might lead her to consider index funds for better results. Now, meet David, a professional fund manager. His fund returns 16%, while the S&P 500 returns 15%. That 1% alpha justifies his fees and expertise. Beating the benchmark is the goal for professionals. Underperforming can cost them clients and bonuses. The S&P 500 enforces accountability and transparency in investing. It's the great equalizer, separating skill from luck. But is it the only benchmark? What about Europe? Let's explore. Europe has its own benchmarks reflecting its diverse economies. The Euro Stoxx 50 tracks 50 top companies from the Eurozone, like SAP, LVMH and ASML. For UK-focused investors, the FTSE 100 is the standard, featuring giants like Shell and HSBC. The FTSE 100 is a barometer for both the UK and global markets. For a broader view, the S&P Europe 350 covers 350 leading companies across 16 European nations. These indices serve the same purpose as the S&P 500, clear, reliable standards for measuring performance. Fund managers and investors use them to judge success and guide strategy. Whether you invest in Paris, London, or Frankfurt, benchmarks matter. They help you navigate Europe's complex financial landscape. But why should you care about any of this? Benchmarks like the S&P 500 are your compass in the financial world. They turn market chaos into clear, measurable standards. Without them, you'd have no way to judge your investments or your fund manager's performance. For individuals, benchmarks democratize investing. Anyone can measure their success. For professionals, they enforce transparency and drive competition. Benchmarks have led to lower fees and more investment choices for everyone. They're the silent referees of global finance, ensuring a level playing field. The S&P 500 and its global counterparts provide clarity and context in a noisy world. Mastering benchmarks is the first step to mastering the market. They unlock a deeper understanding of how wealth is created and measured. So next time you see the S&P 500 in the news, remember, it's more than a number, it's your guide to the world of investing. Stay curious, stay informed, and let benchmarks be your map.